Hello, Colts fans. We're here with the new show for Sports Illustrated Colts here on the Horseshoe Huddle YouTube channel. New show here where me and my old friend Jonathan Hagler, we're going to dive into some defensive back play, some cornerback play, some safety play. Because honestly, I was looking at a bunch of different positions to do for a film room series like this, and I think DB play up there with offensive line play. I think offensive line play is also one that's not understood very well, but I think DB play is one of the least understood kind of aspects of football when it comes to the average fan. So the goal with this series is to look at some reps, look at some plays maybe where, on the weekend you're saying, oh, how could this corner allow this? Or how could this safety allow this? And then hopefully we can kind of add better context to it and maybe take away some blame from those players, or maybe even add some more blame. But I got my friend Jonathan Hagler here. I think I said this last time we did a live stream, but he was the first guy I ever interviewed, first NFL prospect I ever interviewed. I think it was second behind your teammate, Saran Neal. Yeah, Saran Neal. Yeah, he your trainer reached out to me after he saw me talking about Saran, and I had you on Locked On Redskins back in the day, and I think you played a little bit with the Redskins, right?
So I went out to L.A. They took Jeremy Reeves that year.
Okay.
So we both were, he played at South Alabama. Actually, a couple of my buddies grew up and played high school ball with him. But they took Jeremy Reeves that year. I went out to LA. We were similar, I think, prospect wise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So safety, you kind of played some like rover and some like linebacker stuff there at Jacksonville State, right?
We ran a 4-2-5. So I was the Sam nickel guy. Got to cover a lot, got to play in the box a lot of different stuff. They used me well. I enjoyed it. Got the blitz, got the cover, got to do everything. So
Yeah, and now you're doing some great stuff post football. You're doing some coaching. You're working with Crocker Report, which I think if you're going to attach your name to anybody in this business, I mean that's one of the smartest guys to do it with.
Hey, Croc is killing it right now, man. He is on one. We probably had our relationship kicked up like around that same time, my senior year. Mm-hmm. And just watching him like grow, and like I talk to him all the time about it, and they're killing it over there on the Locked On Network, and big 49ers fan over there. Him, and now he's doing Locked On NFL Draft. So yeah, Eric is great, man. He's a good friend, and I love what he's doing. He's killing it.
Yeah, for sure. So I decided, we had to bring on an expert with your background, working with Croc, with playing college football, with training defensive backs and stuff like that. Much better resume than what I have is just some guy who kind of runs his mouth every now and then. So we're going to jump into some cornerback play, some safety play from this past weekend. And I know you guys are kind of a little angry about some of the corner and safety play, which I would be too. I mean, Russell Wilson, I think, had 152.3 passer rating in this game. It was tough to watch, but we're going to jump into some of these clips here, and let me jump over, and we're going to look at here. Let me click this. Boom. All right. Here we go. Can you see this all right, man?
Yep, we're good.
Cool. So the first play that we're going to jump into with this game is the first touchdown. And I've seen a lot of people on social media, a lot of fans just upset about Khari Willis getting burned on this play. And I know my opinion of it, but I want to ask you, man, like when you watch this play, the zero blitz here where he's got to take Tyler Lockett, one of the best receivers in the game, honestly, right here in man coverage where he's already, 15 yards off the ball. What do you think? How would you kind of grade this play? Would you say that, this is just Willis getting burned, Willis doing something bad on this play? Like, how would you really grade this play or even coach this play?
So I think, this angle is a lot better for fans because this is the one that they don't see. They see the broadcast version is pretty cut off. All you see is him, Lockett, getting behind him. I think initially, he does a good job right here. The blitz, and they've got to hit home on this blitz. Right, for them to be in zero right here, I think Russ has a little bit too much time. The pocket's probably too clean. I think he does a good job of walling them off. Lockett has a lot of grass out there, and those guys are not the guys you want to have in with 2-way, 3-way goals in the middle of the field. I think he does a good job to denies him from crossing. I wish he would have probably, pushed a little bit more vertically once he did wall him off. But Lockett's talented, man, and I think at the end of the play, I think he did a really, really good job of adjusting to the ball. I'll give that more credit to Lockett more so than I will blame it on Carey. Right there, we can be nitpicky, but that's tough. And zero coverage is tough. He's covering one of the best receivers in the NFL. Right there, I would want him to squeeze him a little bit more, but like I said, it's open field. Lockett's good. That's tough. That's a tough task for anybody.
Yeah, and I like what you mentioned about the walling off there that Kari Willis does, because, like you said, zero blitz, you're expecting that ball to have to come out quick. So you're going to hit to that spot, and if this ball is coming out quick, Willis is in great position. He's walling him off and he's cutting off that inside. So he does his job right. It's just the blitz kind of takes a bit longer, and then also against maybe a normal quarterback, the normal quarterback wouldn't throw off his back foot and throw to a spot like Wilson does.
Yeah.
Where Wilson trusts Lockett, they have that chemistry, and he's just kind of throwing off. He's just throwing to a spot. And then, just another part is just Lockett's body adjustment. I mean, right here, the ball's in the air. The ball's not going over here, but Lockett's selling like it is.
I believe Lockett is going. He's going towards the eye in Indy right there. But Russ throws him to a spot, like you said. Russ threw him open. I think Russ identified, a Carey walling him off right there, and he threw him open. Hey, the guy's talented, dog, and I think he did a great job of adjusting right here. That's tough.
Yeah,
that's really tough.
Yeah. So I mean, when you have a speed receiver like Lockett in this position on you, where you're trailing, you're underneath, you're walling him off, and he's he's making his way that way, you're going to want to keep going that direction.
You want to undercut it. Yeah, you want to undercut it, and I think with a bigger receiver, he probably makes this play. Lockett's small. Those small guys, in open field right there, they're tough because right there he's trying to create contact right there, and he doesn't get it. I think with a bigger receiver, he probably gets it, and Lockett just makes a hell of a play.
Yeah, and as you can see, the ball's right here. It's over like the 10-yard line here, and Willis is still on him, but again, Lockett just pulls away and over the shoulder too. I mean, that's one of the hardest catches you can make. So, trust me, I want to blame the defensive back on a play like this, but I really just think it comes down to the blitz needs to get there quicker, and then an elite quarterback and an elite receiver just making an elite play. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to happen to you, This next clip here, we have to highlight some good plays with Kenny Moore, because Kenny Moore is just a stud. I mean, we'll probably talk about him a lot.
He's one of the best in the league, I think, at what he does. That's the reason why he got paid. So
Yep. So you have him in coverage, but you also have him in run defense. And I know a lot of this is going to be about coverage that we're talking here, but I just love the way the coaches for the Colts teach this technique and how Kenny Moore is just so good at it. It's when the running back is throwing that stiff arm, he gets that arm out and he slaps it down, and he's able to pull him down. I think he even goes to the ball here on the backside. He's trying to come around with that left arm to knock that ball out. I think he just misses.
That's a hell of a football play right there. Like that's so fun to watch. Like that's like a clip you would show to young guys who are coming into the league or playing college football, or even high school. Those elite ones. Like that's some next level stuff, because it's so hard. First of all, you're in open field. That's one of the hardest things to do in football, especially at this level. And then to have the awareness, chop the arm, stay on the inside hip, secure the tackle, and then reach for the ball and make the tackle. I love that. Like, that's an A++ play right there.
So you were in the box a lot for a defensive back. Were you doing plays like this? Were you just running through the stiff arm? How were you tackling guys if they were coming at you with the stiff arm?
So I think it's stylistically. I would credit my wrestling background. I wrestled a lot in high school. I wrestled a lot when I was younger. Open field tackling, I was more of, stiff arms didn't really bother me. Like, I felt like my level change was really well. I would come in, normal, like it looked like we were face to face, and then I would drop. And I was really, really good at getting in on guys' thighs. And I would equate it to, somewhat of a single leg or a double leg takedown for the people who don't know. And then I would finish with some type of gator roll or something like that in open field. I just feel like, it didn't really give him a chance to make that play. I think that's what helped me a lot. Stiff arms didn't really bother me too much. Every now and then you play against a big running back, but they're not expecting you to be able to level change like that. But like he does a good job. He doesn't have to. He's wide open. He slaps the arm and he finishes and closes. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, especially when I think Chris Carson's like 220-ish.
Oh, he's big.
So.
Yeah, he's strong too. You seen his workout video?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I forgot all about that.
Hey, he's built like a Mack truck, dog.
Yeah, so I think he's got like 40 pounds on Kenny Moore here. And for Kenny Moore to bring him down just so effortlessly, where you get him in this position right here.
Hey, he owned you.
Yeah.
But hey, people don't understand, man. Like, what Kenny Moore's probably 180. How much does he weigh?
Man, they list him at 180.
Yeah,
I want to say he's 180. It might be a little less than that, though. Honestly,
this is a lesson for all the young people watching. If you come in full speed, I don't care how big or small you are. If you come in full speed, there's a good chance you're going to take down somebody. That's a lot of weight. Just imagine somebody throwing a sack of 180 pounds at you. I don't care if you're 280. You're not going to bounce through it. So
it's true.
Great play. Yeah. Great play.
Yep. And now we're going to go to a negative play again. We're going to talk. We're getting back to poor Kari Willis. It was just not his day. And again, part of it I think was his fault. Part of it wasn't. This one I think we can place some more blame on him than the last one. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just a tough one here. And we got cover 6 on second, and I think it was 21 at the end of the first half. I think like a minute to go in the half. The Colts are playing more of an intermediate route here. Like you and I were kind of talking beforehand. They got Julian Blackmon sitting on DK Metcalf, potentially playing over the middle here. And I don't think they just anticipate this shot play. And what happens is Lockett's got all this open field against Kari Willis. He hits him on a double move, and he gets vertical for the score. But you and I were talking beforehand, how should Willis play this? He should be taking away that post, right?
Yeah, I think, if you do get in this situation, if you get an open field look right here, I think you're looking for a chunk play, not necessarily a score right here. But like I said earlier, incredible play call. You have to give up the corner. If you're going to get before the play starts, you have to know where you're going to lose. I think, that was something that, when I lined up, I always knew where I was willing to lose a play on and where I was willing to bet on and win. In this situation, you can't give up the post. Post score touchdowns, corner routes, we can run to that, push them out of bounds. We live to play another play. And make it a tough throw for him. He gets, Lockett gets up on him. Like I said, two-way goes, never ideal with a player like Lockett. But he immediately runs to the corner. Now the middle of the field is wide open because we have our backside safety here sitting on DK, and he almost recovers and makes the play. But like we said earlier, off screen, at this level, Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett, they're putting that on the money. Like he's putting it in between them. That's a dime, and they're off to the races.
Yeah. This is right where the ball was caught, and you and I were talking, right before, kind of preparing for this. If this is slightly underthrown, if this isn't Russell Wilson, if this is Andy Dalton, poor Andy Dalton, I'm just throwing out someone, but if this is someone else, that ball is going to be probably near the 20-yard line or maybe a little shorter. It's just that kind of thing where you make a little mistake like Kari Willis does here. Here we got him opening the hips to the sidelines when he already has the outside leverage on Lockett.
Yeah,
and he's got that
position to make that play. He's in position to make that corner, that play. Like I think he's too in big of a hurry right here to get to the corner, and it cost him. So that's a tough one. I think play calling wise, they probably weren't expecting him to go for it, but I think Seattle saw a look that they like, and like I said, look at the pocket. Russ is working up in the pocket, and he lets it fly.
Yeah, and it was obvious that this was a schemed deep shot just by, they didn't really have many. They had just the flats out here. They were going to attack down that seam or down that post there, and they got the matchup they wanted. Willis took one slight false step, and then again, 2 elite players just making an elite play.
That's tough.
It's tough. It's tough, but yeah, like you said, Willis here, he's playing outside leverage. He opens that hip right there, and once you start getting that hit to the sideline, and it's a double move, that's when you're done. that's basically it. So yeah, it's just the one slight misstep, and Blackmon, like we said, would recover if this was a different quarterback, but can't make
somebody
those
with a
mistakes
less live
against.
arm, somebody with a little bit less touch and a little bit less live of an arm, like Wilson, he probably breaks this up or even picks this ball off. It's the NFL, man. That they can make these throws.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And again, I think it's a 4-5 safety versus a 4-3. I mean, Lockett might be a 4-2 type receiver.
Lockett can fly, man. He's one of them guys that you don't want to cover one-on-one ever, because I bet he has a sick one-on-one practice tape stashed away somewhere, all the way back to, what was it, Kansas State?
Man, I want to say it was Kansas State.
I think it's Kansas State. I remember his Senior Bowl one-on-one highlights were ridiculous. Like, he's just a guy you don't want to be covered one-on-one. You want bracket coverages. You want to force him out of bounds. You want to get your hands on him.
He was Terry McLaurin at the Senior Bowl before Terry McLaurin was there.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he's a problem, man. He's good, and I mean, obviously, the Colts, learned that the hard way.
Yeah, they did. They did. Luckily, they didn't get beat on this one because I think there was some pressure inside. But this is another one where Lockett does have a step on a Colts defensive back. Luckily, Kerry plays it well, and I think there's pressure by Buckner up the middle. But I wanted to highlight this play because I think the most important part of playing corner is how you respond when not when you're beat, but when the receiver has a step on you. Like we see with Rock Ya-Sin. If we were to go back and do this for last season stuff, Rock Ya-Sin had this tendency to where if a receiver had a step on him, or even if he was in phase with the receiver, he got grabby. He didn't try to locate the ball. He didn't play through the hands.
Panicked a little bit. Yep,
exactly. And now when I see corners and I see them actually play through the hands, and I'll run the clip for as I'm saying this, but this is a double move again by Lockett, and Kerry's breaking on this outside, this out route right here, because Lockett sells it well, and then he gets vertical, and he does have a step on Kerry. He's gonna if you're vertical, if you're side by side with Tyler Lockett, he's got a step on you.
Hey, like my coaches always told me, and like people say all the time, if he's even, he's leaving.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that's a lot of times that's a bad situation. But what I did notice was, obviously he protected inside. I think he had really good eyes here. A lot of times when you get situations right here, guys will peek and then Lockett's gone. You thought you knew where he was, and then he's out of there. Not a great throw, but great urgency by the DB right here, by Kerry right here, because I think a lot of times guys don't play with enough urgency and awareness, and they either draw a flag or they don't get the breakup or they get caught on. But incredible urgency right here. Like you can see when they work upfield, he goes. Like his feet are moving a mile a minute, and he knows he has to make this play.
Yep. And I love right here, you can kind of tell Lockett's getting his head back to the ball. And, I only played some ball in high school. I did not play that much anything else. But I even know that if you're trailing a receiver and you're trying to use your eyes to determine when that ball's coming, you're seeing when the receiver's eyes get big. When you're in this position, if that receiver's eyes get big or you see him kind of starting to react, that's when I need to get my hand in between his hands, or I need to get my head back because that ball's coming. And I think Kerry does a great job. If you close the space, he's got his eyes with Lockett's eyes right here. And then as that ball comes, he gets his head back, locates the ball, gets his right hand in between the hands of Tyler Lockett, and gets that breakup without really having much contact. I mean,
and I think the reason why is because he did get in position and he hooked and leaned. I think it always translates to drill. I think every DB does from high school on up. You in phase, out of phase. He hooked, he got his arm around, got his head around, and was able to make that play. So I really like this one. I think it's just like the play with who's our guy just made the upfield tackle. Kenny, yeah. That just made it right there. I think it's just great awareness and it's just a good football play. Sometimes you got to go out there and play ball, and he wouldn't be there if he wasn't a good football player. But great play by him.
Yeah, 7th round pick, who's I think he's going on his like 8th or 9th year in the NFL. Like to be around that long, and then that you got to be able to make plays like this.
I mean, he's smart. He's a smart guy. We were talking about elite athletes earlier. That means he's a smart player. He does his job more than anything. So great play by him. Shout out to him for that one. So.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get to another. I call it a positive one. I like seeing Rock battle up here because this is Rock Ya-Sin here against DK Metcalf, and the main reason why I wanted to highlight this play, even though it's just kind of an overthrow by Russ, and I think Rock plays it fairly well, is I think I've seen a lot of Colts fans, and even me, I guess a little bit too, have complained about Rock Ya-Sin not being physical and press, not getting his hands on receivers. And as you were saying, like with your wrestling background, you want to be physical. Rocky Sin obviously has that wrestling background that we hear about every single broadcast. And I wanted to see more physicality. And I think this is a guy, going against DK Metcalf, who is such a rare specimen to where, he can fly by you, but he can also run you over. I'm actually curious, before we even jump into the clip here, against a guy like DK Metcalf, how would you approach press coverage on him? A guy who can fly by you, but he can also, run through you with his physicality and speed.
So my experience, obviously DK is rare.
I'm sure you didn't really play against too many DKs.
Yeah, I would say it's probably one of the better speed combinations. I think I went against what was his name? He was with the Jets last year. I think he's like 6'3", 207, ran 4.3 guy, right? But when we played, I didn't know that. He shocked me on pro day when I saw his pro day times. But anyway, bigger receivers, I like matching up with them, regardless if they were fast or slow. I was a bigger DB when I got to be in man coverage, played around 214. And a lot of times those guys want to be physical, and that, cool, we can do that all day. I'm not really worried about you. Bigger guys, I would typically go with a read step. That was my preferred my preferred technique. A read step into a kick slide. Looks like he inched out right here. Those guys, I'm not a big fan of giving up a ton of ground too, because once he gets you going one way, they
you
really
get that two-way go, and then you don't want to get that.
I don't really want that with him. DK, it looks like Rocky Yasin did a good job of inching out, because it kind of messed with DK's timing right here. He's reaching, right?
Yep.
DK, he's like, oh, okay. I think he anticipated contact sooner, so I think it worked in his favor. And then right here, it looks like he kind of lost that battle, because DK obviously pushed him back, knocked him off balance a little bit, and Rock Yasin didn't get to close that space and squeeze him. Those bigger guys, I think the quicker you can get into their chest, the better. Especially on these plays, the quicker you get your body in a position where you can squeeze them, the better for you, because you don't want to get him rolling. Most of those big guys don't accelerate well. You do not want him 15 yards downfield, chugging along, because that's when it becomes a problem. Yep. But Rock Yasin did a good job of competing and messing with the timing right there, I think, initially. So,
Yeah, I'm with you. I would say good process. I think it could still be cleaned up a little bit. I would like to see, his strike be from a more balanced type of position. He's kind of on his back feet here a little bit.
Yeah. It's kind of squatting a little bit. You see it with DBs. They'll squat, and then that's when you see the balance fall off, and he caught himself right here. But yeah, he squatted a little bit.
Yeah, like right here, I don't think this position is one that he would ideally want to be in, because again, you're squatting and he's starting to get upfield, and you're kind of lunging. He's starting to move up, so that's where you could kind of get beat. But I think he recovers well. He does pinch fairly well without really getting the contact needed to pinch him to the sideline. Maybe that's Metcalf kind of running himself out of the jam a little bit towards the sideline. Yeah. But yeah, I think the initial play is great. Competing, like you said, I mean, it's hard to compete with a guy like Metcalf.
Hey.
So I think this is a win of a rep, but there are a little bit of things to clean up. But I just think it's a very positive rep, I think, overall.
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime that ball is the lowest completed ball in football. So your job right there is just to disrupt the timing, and he did a good job. I think he did a good job of that goal, disrupt the timing, and make it to where they have to make a tough throw. So I think overall he did a good job. There's some things technically you'd want him to clean up, but he did a good job competing and doing his job right there.
Yeah, anything without a completion or a penalty down the field there is a win.
DBs, we're taking any win we can, and we're holding up that incomplete sign all day. Yeah. So,
you're doing the thing, even though if it's like 30 yards out of bounds.
Like he didn't catch it, so we take them all.
Love it. So final clip we're going to talk about, it's actually Kenny Moore getting beat here, but this is going to be a perfect clip to illustrate just kind of the inches that it comes to in football, because like you and I were talking beforehand, Kenny Moore is maybe like half a second slower, just half a step off, and he still makes this the throw where only Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf can complete here. So we're going to play the clip. Kenny's playing that outside leverage, and he's over top of the route, recovers really well, and then the ball's just perfectly placed inside by Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. As you were saying before we started recording here, you think that Kenny should be playing this a little bit more inside because of the positioning he has with TJ Carey out there?
Yeah, I just think the field awareness, right there. Obviously, they've got their assignments. The safety got taken away by the vertical of the tight end. So the middle of the field's open. Russ sees that. Uh, Russ sees that. Kenny, I think, if he's more aware of where his corner is, he's probably squeezing that a little bit tighter, just a little bit tighter. And on a bigger receiver and with a quarterback as talented as Russ, that's what you need. Because DK pushed him outside, but there's really not a threat up there. What's
Yeah.
he going to throw to your other corner? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's not a route combination that runs two guys into the corner of the end zone. And I just think he probably just gotta, that's what guys like DK do to you though. Their speed, their size, they probably put a little bit more stress on you, make you do some things that are a little bit uncanny. But Kenny did a really, really good job of getting back in position to make that play. And Russ puts it on the money. That's tough. That's another one of those tough plays that it's a game of inches. It's a game of inches right here, and at this level, it'll cost you.
Yeah, man. I like you said. I do think I completely agree. Like, if you want to get beat anywhere, you want to be beat to the sideline, especially here. In such a tight area. You'd rather him have to get, like, let's say this route combination is like more of a smash type stuff. Like this guy's running underneath, and I would still rather prefer him to play a little bit more inside leverage, especially I think when you only have the single high. The single high is going to come over on this vertical route. Again, it's just a great play design by the Seahawks. They kind of knew what look they were getting, and they attacked it really well.
He's reading. He's reading right there. If we can rewind it a little bit, you see Russ is holding it. I think he even takes some contact right there.
Yeah, let me see.
He's reading.
Oh, he pumps it. Yeah.
He's reading the safety, and whichever one he goes to, he's throwing to the other guy, regardless of who's over there. And I think that's what happened early in the game. They called the shots. Great play design, great play calls, and great execution. He threw them open on both plays. He's good. He's good at what he does, and they'll make you pay. They definitely will make you pay.
They will. Yeah. I think overall good coverage by Kenny, but sometimes good is not good enough.
Yeah, and I think the biggest takeaway and the good thing about having this the all 22, a lot of people we gripe about it on Twitter all the time is because we want to see this so we can properly break down film, because when you're watching it from the broadcast version, you see certain cuts and angles that makes players look way worse at times, especially defensive players, way worse than what they are at times, because you have to see how they relate to other guys on the field, what's going on with the play design, what's each player's assignment. And if you don't have an understanding of coverages and alignment and assignment of each guy, it's easy to pick apart a Kenny Moore right here when really, I'm giving more credit to Russ for executing his job. He looked the safety off, great play call, put it where his guy can get it. Yeah, because technically he has inside help. The post is the middle of the field is closed. So great play by them, man.
Yeah, for sure. Let me get out of this. All right. But yeah, guys, that's all we kind of got for this week. Hopefully in future weeks we have more positive clips, and then even more clips overall, because I think for the most part in this game, the Seahawks did a really good job of attacking the flats and attacking underneath to set up those vertical shots down the field. They got the corners that were kind of in those flats, mid-zone areas to kind of attack up. That would open up more one-on-one shots with the safeties down the field. And you got to kind of hand it to the Seahawks offense coordinator. I think this is his first game as an offensive coordinator too. Shane Waldron. I don't know if he was an offensive coordinator somewhere else before this, but
dialed it up. Definitely.
Man, he dialed it. He knew exactly. He had zone beaters. He had the vertical shots. I mean, it was just a great game plan. And then when you have just elite talent like Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, I mean, it helps.
And I think people. We're talking about it some on Twitter this week. Why would, like, the Rams, why would they put Jalen Ramsey at the nickel spot, the star spot for them, what they're calling it? That's why. So, Kenny Moore, typically the nickels that you see are smaller cover guys, right? And some of them are really good at what they do. Well, when I put a 6'2" guy there, he probably breaks that ball up. You know what I mean? It's not a knock on Kenny, because he's one of the best. when you get guys with more length, those windows become so much, smaller, just enough to break that up. And that's why, personnel is so important. That's why getting the right guys in the right position is so important. That's why guys like J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain are so coveted, and people wonder why they get moved around so much. That's why. Because you see a lot more of these elite guys playing in the slot, whether it be Justin Jefferson, you got your Judys, your DKs. They're trying to get their guys open and get favorable matchups.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of like traditionally when you think of a slot receiver, you think of the 5'8", 5'9" guy that's in the slot. Your Cole Beasley's, but kind of how offenses start to gravitate more towards the big slot. Defenses are starting to gravitate towards more the big slot defender. And Kenny Moore is one of those exceptions where with his 42-inch, 43-inch vertical, he can he's a freak. He's a freak. And that wasn't even a knock on Kenny with what we were watching or what we were saying there, because he's just an absolute freak. But yeah, I like what you said there. It really is kind of becoming that chess match and stuff. And yeah, the Seahawks just called a great game, and they knew exactly what they're doing. So hopefully it's next week against. It's funny. I was saying this after the game. We got Shane Waldron calling this game against the Colts, who comes from the Sean McVay tree, if you would say that. Yeah. Now we get Sean McVay in the next week.
Hey,
so.
we'll see. Look, we'll see. We'll see in the first half how much the apple fell. So we'll see if he dials them up, or because honestly they weren't in horrible spots. Those are fixable. Those plays that they hit on. They're not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, Kenny's in position on one. They're probably a yard out of position on the other. So yeah, if I was a Colts fan, I wouldn't panic as far as that, because everybody's not going to be Russ, Tyler Lockett, and DK. That's just the reality of it. And they'll get their fair share of plays made.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I appreciate you joining this show, and I appreciate all you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Into the DB Film Room. I'm going to see if that will be the name that officially sticks with it. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if you guys respond well to that. But Into the DB Film Room here on Horseshoe Huddle. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. Follow John Hagler there on Twitter at John Hagler CR for Crocker Report. And yeah, guys, this is something we're going to do every single week and try to get more to the nuances of the game, so we can stop blaming Kari Willis whenever he gets beat deep there. Definitely. All right, guys, we will catch you guys next week for another episode of Into the DB Film Room.